the same trauma that we did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the same brainwashing that we did, but it was on a different level in DR. Like, the fact that my wife is Dominican, so when I go there, I'm not going to the resorts, I'm going into the communities and shit. So when you go into the communities, like, you realize these niggas is straight African. Like, I don't give a fuck what they trying to say. But there is a mixture of the natives and a mixture of the Spaniards that's in them. But you gotta, even over the history of Trujillo, who was a dictator there for mad years, who had mad self-hate. So it made it to be that you don't want to identify as black because, you know, it was killing them, you know what I'm saying?
And whitewash.
Whitewashing, you know what I'm saying? And we gotta also remember that the Caribbean islands, all these places, the conquerors never left. They still run DR. You know what I mean? The Spaniards are still there.
It's just passed down
you know
throughout families.
Yeah. They are still there running the island. And it's actually the Ku Klux Klan in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, I was there, this is probably a while ago.
Spanish Ku Klux Klan?
Spanish KKK, nigga. Spaniard.
Spaniard. Oh, Spaniard.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
There's a big difference.
We gotta differentiate. You know what I mean? The Spaniard descendants who are still running DR are part of the Klan. I was out there like 10 years ago and driving with my stepfather, rest in peace. You know, he died from this COVID thing.
He did? Sorry to hear that, bro.
But being on the radio and we driving around the town, I don't understand much of Spanish, but I heard Ku Klux Klan. I looked at him, I was like, what are they talking about? And he's like, yeah, it's Ku Klux Klan here in DR. So this is what that whole culture is being informed by. A bunch of racist people. So that's why that self-hate is so prevalent. You know what I'm saying? But on another note, you know what I mean, my stepfather and stepmother, they came out to Kenya for like Christmas like 3 or 4 years ago. And being there in Africa, that's when it really hit them that they're African people.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's when it hit them. You know what I'm saying? So this really takes us reconnecting ourselves, you know, physically to going to see. And there'll be no question about who you really are. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. My friend was in Africa and I was like, yo, do me a favor, bring me a rock, some dirt, anything, because in my mind I feel like once I touch the soil of Africa, it's gonna affect me a certain way. Did it do that for you? I know you've been there a couple of times.
I've been there mad times at this point. But yeah, nah, it definitely does. The first time I went out there, I was 15, and we landed, and we stayed up the whole night. We landed at nighttime, so we stayed up basically the whole night, just like taking it all in. Like it's nothing that you can really fully explain with words. It's something that when your body touched that land, the feeling, the emotional, the spiritual connection that happens that you didn't even know you were missing. You know what I'm saying? So like November last year, we celebrated my wife's 40th birthday out there. So we arranged for like 20 people to come from the States to come experience it. And for most of them, it was their first time on the continent. And they kept saying that. I was like, yo, I didn't even know I was missing this experience out of my life. These are people almost 50 years old. She brought her mother who was like 75. You know what I mean? And they loved it. You know what I'm saying? So you live your whole life over here, even if you travel other places but you haven't touched the continent, you don't even know there's a void in your soul that you haven't experienced yet.
That's deep,
bro. you know, like how people, you know, being from the Caribbean, like, oh, when I go back to the island, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Is that multiplied by 1,000? You know what I'm saying?
Yo, because I went to Barbados. When I went to Barbados to see my dad, it was like, yo, this is different.
Yeah.
Like, you just felt different. Yeah. It felt like home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like when you're surrounded, when everybody is black in every position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a different vibe. Like my boy is a black American dude. He went to St. Lucia. It's the first time in his life he's surrounded in a place where black people are running everything. He had to call me like, yo, son, this is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's like been to Mexico and other places, but when he went to St. Lucia, he had that vibe. So with that type of energy, when you touch down on the continent, it gets multiplied. And then also when you start to go visit like the slave dungeons in West Africa, like in Ghana, Senegal, Gorée Island. So like, I know people try to say slave trade didn't really exist, but when you step into these spaces, you know that this shit happened. you feel the pain. You feel it. Like I was in Goyan at 15 and grown people are breaking down crying. You know, standing at the door, no return, like, nigga, I returned. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm here, and I'm coming back. You know, that's from that time I was like, I don't know when I'm coming back to Africa, but I knew at some point in my life I wanted to go back and live. And then, you know, as growing up, then started trying the Rastafari faith, and that became, you know, the tenets. You know, enough Rasta them out here not really repatriate physically through the certain things, you know, family, money, whatever, not having true knowledge. And then there's ones who do, you know what I'm saying? And the ones who do, they love it. Even if they struggling over there, they still rather be there than be here. You know what I mean? Just because of that. You know what I'm saying?
So another question is, which a lot of people, you know, like even here, like they say Africans don't really like fuck with, like, excuse my language, but Americans, Black Americans, they don't consider Black Americans as African. Is that something that you experienced when you went to Kenya?
Nah, not at all. I've never had that experience on the continent at all. Every time I've been there, I've been to 12 countries, flying out of east, west, north, south. I've never really experienced that vibe. You know what I'm saying? I've only experienced love, to be honest. Every touchdown, just like I was saying before, sometimes they don't even know that I'm not even from there, to be honest. And like when I've been there, like I see people who look like my cousins, who look like my uncle, who look like my auntie that walk by. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
it might just be.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's why, like, yeah, sure, there might be a few of them that hold that thought, but it's not like everybody out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a big space, so we can't just blanket that. You know? It's love for the most part, especially now in like places like Ghana, West Africa, where they're actually now opening the doors, putting laws in the books with the right to stay there now and get your papers good. That's dope. You know what I mean? So just throw that in the garbage pan of history. You know what I mean? Go forward as one people, regardless how we label ourselves.
Recently, Haile Selassie's statue got knocked down in England. And it was due to, I guess, an Ethiopian artist got murdered or something like that.
Yeah, it's a tribal beef. That's what's being played out. So you have the Oromo people. So the Oromo people are from the southern region of Ethiopia. And then, so King Selassie and his lineage are the Amhar people. They're more from like central northern Ethiopia. And the Tigrinians are further north. So the Tigrinians and the Amhara people historically have run Ethiopia through the political situation and through all the kingdoms. There have been Oromo people mixed up in that, but historically, Oromo people feel like they've been disenfranchised from running the country. Even though the current president now is half Oromo, the new guy that came in. So that's what's happening. So now Oromo now, they feel like they're disenfranchised because they're the most populous tribe in that country, but they don't have no real political power per se. So these youths are now growing up feeling disenfranchised with no opportunity, and there also a lot of misguidance that's going on too. A lot of misinformation about the emperor and his family and how they treated the people, and a lot of propaganda. So outside forces are using that tension to try to destabilize Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is one of the biggest, fastest emerging economies in the world right now. Mad development, mad businesses going on, mad industry is going. Enough of, like, you know, the clothes that used to get made in China and other places are now being manufactured in Ethiopia. And right now they're in the process of putting in what they call the Renaissance Dam on the Nile, and Ethiopia and Egypt are having beef about that. So people are saying there's outside agitators who are feeding these Oromo youths with misinformation, so to stabilize that, to throw that project off route. But I was just in Shashamane too, like in March, and that's where Shashamane is, the land the emperor gave to blacks to repatriate to, is actually in Oromo territory. You know what I mean? So one thing I learned there now is there was an elder there, shout to Teddy Dan. elder Rinpoche there for like 20, 30, 40 years actually, long time he's been there. And he was telling us they did some research and that, because we only learn about slavery from West Africa, right?
Yeah.
The slave trade actually 400 years prior to that was coming out of the East African coast, Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, Ethiopia, these places. So Jamaicans, some Jamaicans' bloodline
Came from them, son.
actually come from the Oromo people of Shashamani. So the emperor don't make no mistake. You know what I'm saying? That's why he put the land there. You know what I'm saying? But because that information is not really available, this is something that he learned when he moved there and started doing the history on it. So it was actually like the local Oromo people started to accept them as like really their brothers and sisters, not just Rastas who moved there. You know what I'm saying? But because of the misinformation that's coming from outside forces, they're trying to destabilize that. You know
Outside forces, man.
Outside forces, you know what I mean?
There's always an outside force trying to mess some shit up.
Yeah, because, you know, when you lack unity, anybody can come in from the outside and manipulate the situation to their own favor, you know? But Africa, man, is a dope place. Don't listen to none of the bullshit that you see on TV about it. And in this day and age, there's enough people on YouTube that are showing you the truth. Yeah, there's poverty out there, but where's no poverty? Every place got poor people, and every place got rich people. Every place got middle class people. You know what I'm saying? Every place got luxury. Every place got mud huts. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. You know, like I could look out my window and see a cat pulling up in a Bentley.
Nice. Wait, so Come Home, I noticed you had a hat that says Come Home on it. What's that about? Is that a brand or?
Yeah, it's a brand. So part of moving to Africa, it's not really a place that you really just say, I'm gonna go there and get a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in certain industries, like if you're a teacher, you might be able to get a job there.
Mm-hmm.
Work in the NGO world, that type of world, you could get a job there. But for me, as an engineer and being in the construction industry, it's not a place that I can just go show up and get a job.
So you went there with all this experience you have of being an engineer, but not knowing if you could even use that experience in this country, on this continent.
I can use it, but not in the sense of getting hired to do it. I can use it in entrepreneurially,
okay,
and knowledge-wise of what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just what it is. Because China gets most of the biggest construction contracts and all that stuff. So the work that I'll be doing over there, the Chinese niggas is doing. It is what it is. I don't complain about it, whatever. That's just what it is. It just shows us there's opportunity for it. Because I know mad black engineers working in all industries here in America, but we stay here. We don't take our knowledge back and try to get work over there and form our own companies and do our own thing. But that's the future. Future tense, that's future talk. But because I couldn't really get a job out there, because I tried for many years trying to get a job out there. Moved to South Africa for 3 months at one point prior to moving to Kenya. Got some interviews, but nothing really came through. So it was like, it's entrepreneur time. You know what I mean? You gotta start hustling, think of business shit. So Come Home is a clothing brand that me and my brethren are working on out here. You know what I'm saying? Then we got the Yaaya, which is really, it's a brand starting off making jewelry pieces. So the material and beads are from places like Nigeria.
But you made this?
Yeah, I made this.
Where's mine, brother?
I'll show you when we get over. I'll show you what we got. You about to drop the third collection. YaayaShop.com. That's coming out by like August 1st when I release that. Our third collection, something that we launched last year. And then, so like I was saying, like the pendants come from Ethiopia. The beads come from West Africa, Mali, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, different places like that. And then we also have a tourism business. So a shout out to my brother Red Lion Intl CT. She was the last group we had over in February, right before the whole COVID thing went crazy. They actually got to see Buju perform in Africa because they landed on that Saturday. You know what I'm saying? But he brought 40 people from out here.
Wow.
And we took them around and they had a great time. Enough of them were thinking about coming back. And these are, most of them are Caribbean people, you know what I mean? From Flatbush area, them sides who came out there and just loved it, of all ages, from like 60 down into their 20s. You know what I mean? So that's what we're doing. So if you want to come out there on a trip, even if it's just one or two of y'all, I can help arrange those things for y'all. That that business kind of started naturally because when we moved, our family and cousins started coming.
So you had to.
So you had to take them around.
Think of events, think of things to do, where to take them.
Yeah, exactly. So then it was like, you know what, we can make a business out of this. Yeah. So for the past 3 years, I've been having groups come down and we take them around different parts of Kenya and
nice.
Get the history, get the culture, get the nice beachside relaxation for 3 or 4 days. You know what I'm saying? Take you on a nice safari trips where you go see lions, everything, all that shit that you think is everywhere, but no, you actually gotta go to where they are to see them.
You gotta go, you gotta.
You know
it's not like lions like passing your crib.
Nah. You gotta go to where they at.
They ain't a guy walking with a spear down the block. They might be.
There might be.
Now I want to see that.
Shout out to the Maasai, because the Maasai, they walk around the city just like they in the bush. You know what I'm saying? With the spears and the knives.
That reminds me.
Nairobi does have a national park right next to it, so the lions do come out every
now
and then. Every now and then lions.
Is poaching still a
yeah,
big thing?
Poaching is a very big thing over there. You know, especially because the Chinese are there. So a lot of the development projects that they do sometimes be going through the national parks where the animals are, so they get access to the rhino horns and all these things. So Kenya's working hard to put an end to it. They be arresting them and
that's good.
Them, and like I think the other day, this Chinese dude got caught with like 100 different penises from different animals.
What?
In his suitcase.
Why?
Trying to leave.
I don't even want to know why. I forget. Sorry, I asked why.
Bro, I don't know why they do what they do. They say it's for their medicine or whatever, but it is what it is. That's what they do. It's part of their culture, whatever.
You know, I noticed that it's like certain cultures have an infatuation with penises, by the way. Working on a construction site, every minute you'll see, like, in the bathroom, somebody drew up. I'm like, why do people draw penises all the time?
Yeah.
There's some type of, I don't know. That's
you got to read Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's book, The ISIS Papers.
Yeah?
And she'll break that down.
Oh, she'll break it down? I have a reason in my head, but I don't want to say it. No, I don't want to be Nick Cannon and shit.
I mean... Yo.
What do you think about that Nick Cannon thing?
When I think about it, to be honest, I didn't really see the whole quote that he said that they say he's anti-Semitic. So, I don't know what he said, but...
And it's deleted, too. I mean, there might be a clip out there.
I'm sure there's something out there. I mean, I really looked to find it. But the fact that he had to apologize just proves what he was saying. And people who are down in Nick Cannon for apologizing don't really overs how that world works.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if this nigga's life was threatened or his children's life was threatened.
Livelihood,
all of that.
He employed over 300 people. Like, his business is a lot.
I don't even think it's the money thing. I think it was his life.
I don't think it's the money. I think it could be the people that he employs, though. I don't think, they're losing jobs. So I think that was something that
he has enough money to be independent.
For himself. Oh, you mean period?
Period. He should. He's been on enough big shows for many, many years. And if you're going to go out on a platform, because that wasn't a recent interview. That interview was done like last year.
And he
put it out. So you knew what you were putting out.
He knew it was going to be a problem.
And you know the history of Professor Griff, who got kicked out of Public Enemy for making these same type of statements and still being blackballed out the industry because of this over years. If you watch Professor Griff videos. So you know these things, right? Yeah. So you know what you're walking into. So you must be prepared to go in this, because we have to understand this is a war. And, we don't know it's a war, but these niggas move like it's a war.
They know it's a war. My thing was, because I had a conversation with one of my Jewish friends. He called me. He just wanted to, get some dialogue going to know how I felt and explain how he felt. But my thing is, yes, Nick Cannon said what he said, but then you guys also, there's a million of Jews who own record labels who have artists on there that's saying nigger, they're saying bitch, they're saying hoe, they're disrespecting the black culture, and you guys let that go through. But then once you hear somebody say something about the Jewish culture, it's not, you're shutting this shit down. And they're under the same label that he could have been under Viacom and all that. And Viacom, BET, they've been allowing this for years and decades.
It just shows you who has power, who don't.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. That's it.
This is all it is.
That's it.
That's all it is. Who got the power, who don't.
That's why Diddy was like, yo, come to Revolt. He was on some Suge Knight shit.
But I even heard that's even owned by some Jews behind the scenes. I don't know if it's true or not,
You don't know.
You know what I'm saying? But
You never know.
you never know. And it's not even so much hate speech, because when we check the real heights of it, the way they're living is kind of like the culture that was taught to them. I know that people like to say they stole our culture. No, Cats was actually taught by black Hebrew Israelites that came from down in that side and went up into the Khazarian area and taught these motherfuckers. And that's just the reality of it.
And I think they were in Ethiopia.
Yeah. There's
Some
there's Hebrew Israelite Africans everywhere in the country. You find them in Nigeria, you find them in South Africa, you find them in Ethiopia, you find them in Kenya, you find them everywhere. So that's just ancient African culture. And they're actually practicing what we should be practicing. But because we're brainwashed and been traumatized, we can't even see that.
I was shout out to the Israelites. Flatbush Israelites was big out here too.
Yeah. I was cool with some of them, but you know what I mean? I have good friends that are Israelite. I'm friends with everybody, bro. Like, no matter what your conscious spiritual path you think you're on, I'm cool with you because I realize all of it is based out of our own culture. And we need to stop arguing with each other over who's right, who's wrong, and actually really sit down and put it all together. Because we got bits and pieces of the information. Put it all together and really see how this all works. You know what I'm saying? That's what's really happening, you know what I mean? And it's just love, you know what I'm saying? But Nick Cannon, you know, bro, go to Africa, take that same bread and flip it, but I know they probably threaten your life, so that's why you made those statements.
Vocally, like on such a big platform like that, you don't really hear it much from that many people. So
Nah, I get you, but we need to stop looking for leaders.
Stop looking for leaders.
You are your leader.
Be only.
You are your leader. Be conscious. Check history. Check culture. Study it. The sciences. You know what I'm saying? And then you realize that you don't need no external nothing. Everything you have in this life God gave you, the Most High gave you, is all you need to really manifest everything.
There was a big thing where it showed the Chinese people were kicking Africans out the country during the whole COVID thing. Have you seen anything like that? I mean,
in Africa now, as a repercussion, certain countries started deporting them, arresting them, because they're there doing business, and a lot of times they're doing it illegally. Like they come there on tourist visas and overstay and running businesses, working when they're not supposed to. So certain countries started to crack down on that as a response to that. You know what I mean? Then people started doing more manufacturing instead of getting shit from China. You know
so this is a good thing in a way. Like Africa, you believe Africa's getting back its control over the continent? I seen Ghana started the thing where you can return now.
Yeah, the year they return.
The year that you return.
Yeah.
You think this is good things for Africa?
Right now, if you're truly in tune with what's going on the planet and the stars and in the spiritual realm, you got to overlook that we're in a great space as African people on the planet right now.
2020.
2020, 2012 in Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, this is great. You know what I mean? Like, Rastafari ancestors been chanting for the burning of Babylon for almost 100 years, and it's happening. It's manifesting. Nigga, people who really overs are having a great fucking time out here.
Shout out to the shout out to the Rastas, because let's get back to like Flatbush now, right? Like when we used to be in the parties.
Yeah.
A Rasta tune come on. Judgment Pandia. Dudes, half of the dudes wasn't Rastas.
Yeah.
But that energy was still there.
Yeah.
Just the Rasta energy. Yeah. Rastas have been like guiding the minds of the Flatbush community and
for a long time.
For a minute.
Yeah. So, that's our indigenous spiritual culture, basically. You know what I'm saying? You can always say that.
That's dope.
Yeah,
man.
You know what I mean? That's you can do. I grew up in church every day, but you know what I mean? Rastafari, you know what I'm
I would have never thought you would have been a Rasta though.
Enough people say that.
When did that happen for you? When did that was your mother okay with it?
Nah.
I know your mother wasn't okay with
I ain't gonna lie. She ain't okay with it. You know, she a Jesus freak. She love Jesus.
Shout out to your mom.
Yeah, but it's all good. I ain't judging it. It's just
everyone got their own thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I would say it really started, like you said, the music was always around.
Yeah.
But like in 8th grade, we had to write who our favorite musician was.
Bob.
Do a paper on it. So I did on Bob Marley.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, this is when like Real Love was coming out, Mary J. Blige, so a lot of the girls.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Who is Bob Marley? Some people don't know who Bob Marley is.
Yeah, that's true. So I got into the library, did some research on him, read his book, the autobiography on him, and that really like opened my mind to like, you know, Rastafari culture and things like that. But you know, still growing up in the church, going through all that, you know what I mean? But then I would say around senior year of college, that's when like everything just like, you know, this Rastafari time, you know, there's not even nothing you can really explain. Like we just say like it's a chosen thing, it's not something that you really just turn into. It's like it's something that's an inborn concept. That's what we say. You know what I'm saying? So I was just always connected to it, being Afrocentric mentality, and then hearing about the Rastafari culture and learning from the ones in the eyes and the music, and it's just like, yeah, man. Then going to Africa, in between all of that, so it was all connected to me already. You know what I'm saying? I already know what Africa looked like.
Yeah.
It was no fantasy to me. You know what I'm saying? I know the reality. You know
like not like we see on TV, like you was mentioning.
Yeah.
Like even my boy DJ Stacks, he was talking about Haiti.
Yeah.
And how the perception of Haiti is just terrible.
Yeah.
But he's like, that's a certain area of Haiti. It's not the whole of Haiti.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and in Africa is like 1 billion times bigger than Haiti, so it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Of course, they got shitty areas. They got a couple shitty areas in Flatbush.
Right?
No, they don't. Shout out to Flatbush. Speaking of Flatbush, though, right now, you know, the whole protest things that was going on.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of gang violence going on where, not even just gang violence, there's this violence, period. Yeah. And it seems to be like, I don't know if it's the media that's doing it, or is it really I mean, a child got killed recently.
The 1-year-old, I heard.
That was in Bed-Stuy, but either way, it's Brooklyn, whatever.
Yeah.
And what do you think about all that?
From what I understand, some of it is a gang war violence going on.
There's definitely a gang war violence going on.
You know, I don't understand that, but like,
how do you think we can connect to it? Because it's so, the disconnect is there. Like, we try to talk to these kids just like how they try to talk to us.
Yeah, it's like I was about to say, it's like, it feel like the 80s to me, really.
Yo, it's like everyone asks for the old Flatbush. This is the old Flatbush.
It feel like the 80s to me. But I really see it as this, though, in a sense. These youth that step out into the world and commit violent acts a lot of time, if we were living in our natural habitat back in the land, they would be the ones who were sent to be part of the warrior class. You understand what I'm saying?
So they're just in the wrong environment.
They're in the wrong environment. Like, these cats is warriors, naturally. That's why they can kill something with no regard. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody in the hood is like that, but there's certain cats that you know have no regard for life. You're the warrior in the tribe, in the community. You know what I'm saying? But we're not in our natural habitat. So a lot of these cats belong in those spaces, I believe.
No, that's a great point.
That space doesn't exist for us out here. So the only thing they can do is street shit.
Because I was telling my friend recently, she was like, yo, why wasn't they protesting? I was like, because they don't see the police as enemies. That's not their real enemy.
No, that's not that.
That's when they do their crime, they know they're going to get arrested.
Yeah.
But their real enemy is this other gang member or whatever.
Yeah.
But what you said makes a lot of sense.
That's why I see it. That's why I've been looking at it, because you gotta remember, we're not really living in our natural habitat over here, number one, and not in our natural culture, natural state, the natural foods that we used to eat. So therefore, we are living in abnormal conditions to how our natural liberty is actually supposed to be.
And do you think like the food? I'm glad you mentioned natural environment, because I was talking to a dude who was a doctor, and he said black people don't eat properly. All these foods are causing you to have high diabetes and higher blood pressure. But I also mentioned that the environment, the food that's around you, you have Kentucky, you got the Chinese store, you got these things that are quick to get, especially single mothers who have no choice but, my son needs food, I gotta run and go get something right quick from the store. That's causing these bad habits of eating. And
like, I have a personal example. When I was like 19, 20, I went to the doctor. He was like, yo, your cholesterol level is the level of a 65-year-old man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was like, do you want to take these pills for the rest of your life and eat that way? And this is before I really even fully was Rastafari.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, you got to change the way you eat. So I started going vegan from back then. I've been vegan 20 years.
You've been vegan for 20 years?
Yeah.
I'm a pescatarian, but I'm still fat, bro. What am I doing wrong?
You probably didn't eat enough rice.
I didn't eat enough rice?
You eat too much rice.
Yeah, I mean, love rice.
Exactly.
You can't be a West Indian and don't eat rice.
Nah, rice is one of the worst
Yo, I mean, I forget the rice, rude boy.
Trust me.
Rice and peas.
Rice make you go to sleep.
Yo, rice, but that's starchy rice.
Yeah,
Starch.
make you go to
So
sleep.
what would be a replacement for you for rice? Because being a Caribbean, that's like rice and peas. It's just that's it. You can go to a barbecue and there'd be a hot dog, a burger, and some rice and peas.
Rice and peas. I would say I started off looking for a replacement. I was in that road. I said, I've been vegan ITAL 20 years. So at the space I'm in now, I'm not even looking for replacements. It's more of what do I eat? I make fruit smoothies in the morning with sea moss and rainbow powder.
Shout out to Dirt and Oil, by the way. Dirt and Oil, they make sea moss.
Before it became a popular thing, you know, the last time I've been blend up his sea moss.
Big blend of Irish moss.
Irish moss. You know what I'm saying? Then like raw veggie salads with different vegetables in it. And then if I do eat a cooked meal, it's definitely all vegan, no dairy, no meat. A lot of maybe some pasta. You know what I mean? Eat a lot of Ethiopian food, get some injera with the different veggie dishes that they got. But I do be making some raw veggie burgers nowadays.
Yeah? What do you think about like the brands though? Because I use like Boca, different like vegan brands. But I heard some of these brands have like high estrogen and different things like that in it. Like,
it's the soy.
The soy no good.
Everything that you do too much is no good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I eat soy every now and then. I don't try and act like I don't eat soy, but it's not something that you want to say go from eating burgers every week to eating Boca burgers every week. You're not going to be making a great health decision that way. You know what I'm saying? So anything that comes packaged has issues with it for the most part.
Yeah, because in order for it to stay
preserved and frozen and shipped, like you live in food deserts out here. Like you need to be growing your own food. So as part of the thing, before moving to Africa, I learned how to grow my own food a bit in front of the crib out here.
I remember you used to grow your own food. You had big ass cucumbers, paws in front of the house.
Yep.
Tomatoes, all type of things. Like, how did you make that work in Flatbush, bro?
I was, because, you know, 2 times I moved Africa, my farm. Nigga, I never farmed nothing.
You never
in my
farmed.
life. So hold on, I'm going to go there and not have no practical information. So it was like, you know what, this is part of the process of preparing to go.
That's dope,
Start
man.
a little garden. You know what I mean? Put your hands in the dirt, you know what I mean? Grow food. Out of that little space, I was able to produce so much. So I was like, imagine when we get actual land that we can do. And that's what we're doing. That's another business we got. We have land.
You do farming, right? You're doing some type of farming out there, right? What's that about?
We're doing mostly tree farming.
Tree farming?
Trees.
Like a tree?
Trees, like trees.
I've never heard of that. Is that common?
Yeah. Because they use certain type of trees for construction purposes.
In America, I just feel like they just chop down trees when they want them. That would be considered tree farming. But in America, they just go into a forest.
Tree farms different places.
Yeah.
Because you can't really run up in the forest like that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you have places that grow trees for construction purposes. Then we also grow a lot of fruit trees. You know what I'm saying? That's like a long-term thing because they take like 5 years to really produce.
How long does a tree take to grow?
Depends how much you water it, 5 to 7 years. But what you pay for it and what you sell it for is astronomical in profit margin.
Yeah?
So it's really like a patient
Yo, hold on, son. I got like 20. How much I got to put towards this tree farm, son?
We'll talk about that off camera. You know what I mean? Nah, seriously, that's one of the things about moving to the continent is there's a lot of space for opportunity and investment out there.
So you have to go with that frame of mind as, listen, I have to be like an entrepreneur.
Put your hustle hat on.
You gotta put your hustle. You gotta put your come home hat on. That your own brand. You gotta be willing to make that transition.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, unless you're one able to get a job out there, which is the easiest way to transition there. But even as you go there with the job, you're gonna be like, yo, I need to do my own thing anyway.
Yeah,
you're gonna get that feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, yo, put your hustle hat on. If you really want to go to Africa, you should really be starting your business now, researching your business now that you want to do before you even touch the land.
Oh,
man.
This is great talking to you, man. I just want to break down what we spoke about, because I'm realizing a lot that I didn't know about you, that you went to Ebenezer, and how that really to me, and your mother.
Yeah.
Shout out to your father too.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace to your father.
Yeah, man. And that experience as a youth really made me grow up faster. You know what I'm saying?
Your father passing?
My father passing, yeah. I was like 12 years old when that happened. So it put me in a space of where I gotta provide for myself. Yeah. That's why, like, when he got older and the street shits was available to do, I'm like, nah, fuck the street shit. You know what I'm saying? Shout to FBK, they put it in my brain, fuck the street shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, when we go to college, that's where the girls is at anyway. That's why I discovered when I went to college, that's where all the girls is at. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, fuck the street shit. And when you lose, you know, a father figure at that point, it just made me like grow up quickly, like mentally, like, yo, I gotta take this shit serious.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? It was great having it. I want to ask you one more thing, yo. What do you miss from Flatbush? Like, being in Kenya, what are the things that you miss?
You know what my daughter asked me for? Make sure you bring up patty for me when you come back to Kenya.
Damn, that sounds like something simple.
I miss the food, like the Caribbean food.
So it's not, yes, I guess, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, the way Caribbean people cook their food is different. You know what I'm saying?
Seasoning, everything, just the vibe.
It's different, you know what I mean?
There's no restaurant you walk in there and they be like, yo, we ain't got this, like a yard man. Yo, we don't have that.
Sometimes they got them spots, but
we don't have that.
Especially the way I eat, because it's tough out there for a vegan to go to a restaurant.
So it's still tough, yeah.
Yeah, but so enough time to eat at home still. But I miss the food. Like, be able to just run out of bed, run the junction, get a nice veggie patty, you know what I'm saying, or go get, you know, a plate from the Ital place there. That's what I really miss, the food of the Caribbean. You know what I mean?
That's dope, man.
That's what I miss from Flatbush.
It's very important. Food is a big part of Flatbush.
Yeah. So like when the artists come forward, they be bringing their own seasoning and spices just to make sure, you know what I mean? Because they be cooking. It's hard to be Ital over there and try to eat out.
And most of the artists you deal with is Ital.
Yeah, all of them. Most of them. Yeah. You know, we even had Chronix came out there on vacation one time.
Oh yeah?
You know what I'm saying? And we took them around, because I live on the coast, Mombasa, so it's Indian Ocean, it's tropical, it's hot all day, it's like the Caribbean. So
I heard it's beautiful there too.
It's paradise, bro.
Yeah?
Paradise. Like, paradise for real. Like that whole East African coast from Somalia all the way down to Durban is full of beautiful tropical spaces.
Next time we talk, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be in Africa. Next interview we do.
Yeah, I heard them say that, right?
The next interview that we do, I am going to be in Africa.
Okay. What's today's date?
I got my card. I got my passport. I got my new green card. You know what I'm saying? So Trump don't kick me out the country.
Sure.
But yo, it's been great, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been a great. I'm glad to see that you're back from Africa.
Yeah, me too. You know, I have to come build the business here with the family.
That's dope. So you work from here. You work here, and you have contracts that you deal with.
Yeah, I'm a consultant in the engineering field. So, you know, you get work over here still.
I gotta get some of that jewelry, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna show you. YaAyaShop.com. Look for the launch _YaAya1 on IG. At Black Lion International on IG. At Come Home Merch on IG. You know what I'm saying? But you go to Black Lion International, you see the links. And we doing podcasting over there. Almost forgot. Shout to Mombasa Magazine podcast. I got 2 shows on there called The Spotlight. Next one called Keeping It Kenyan, where we're talking about local issues, business-wise, tourism-wise. So you get to hear what's really happening on the ground in real time, in a real space.
Get in tune.
The Spotlight is all about music, where we highlighting different artists from different around the world, playing different music, different events, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So, shout to everybody. We are Flatbush. You know what I mean? The home ground, hometown. But
come home.
Come home still.